Welcome back, guys. This is Charlie Tango 1994. Beautiful sunny day today, very unusual for February, and I did want to start having a bit of a clear out of the garage, just to reorganise some things for the spring, really, getting access to different things. And while I'm at it, I thought I'd pull out some of my sort of camping bushcraft gear and have a go through it, make sure that I know where everything is, and start thinking about kind of kit assessment, really. What things am I going to need to take away with me? I've already probably got a lot of the gear that I need, and a few variations on different things. I've got a couple of different cook sets, bits and pieces like that, so probably worth taking you through what I've got, and then maybe as an extension to like a series of videos, I might do sort of demos of some of the best gear, or some of the stuff that I'm planning to use, and I definitely want to do a sort of a dry run before I go away. Probably put a shelter up in the garden when I do get my aerial mast, get it erected up in the garden, just so I know I've got everything I need when I do eventually get out there. In another video as well, I'll talk to you about the kind of the different stations and different things that I'm kind of planning for, the different setups I'm going to need. One for mobile, one for truly portable, you know, one where I can set up near the car, just a short walking distance, and a much more lightweight version, where I could be away from the car for, you know, overnight or 72 hours or something like that. So quite a lot of information around the non-radio side of getting out and about, a bit of wild camping, getting an aerial up in the air at decent altitudes. So this will be the start of it, just going through the kit that I've got, explaining what I've got and what I plan to use, making sure things will fit in certain bags and stuff, and or have a rethink before sling it all in the car and try and do it for the first time. Cool, so give us a couple of minutes and I'll open things up and we'll see what we've got. Cheers. Alright, so I'm back. First thing to say is that took quite a while, because there's a fair amount of gear strewn all over the decking, and first thing to say is I'm missing two vital bits of kit which I would have assumed were properly packed away. I'd just slung everything basically in these bags. They weren't kind of ready to go. It was just storage, really, more than anything else. Anyway, I'll whiz you through what I've got, and as I go around, I'll explain a bit more about what's missing and what I would be intending to. I'll need to dig them up basically. So that'll be what I do shortly after shooting this video, probably. All right. So first thing to talk about is probably the bags themselves. On the right is a black 35 litre bag with two big side pockets, and quite a big pocket at the back there, which has still got some bits and pieces in. That's going to be probably the day bag, you know what I mean. I'll put my radio in there and bits and pieces. What I do want to see is aerials and masts, stuff like that. I don't think I'm actually going to fit that in that size bag, so we'll have to think about really the overall weight and what I'd be planning to carry on my back and stuff. So this is part of what this exercise is all about. Next to that is a much bigger bag, a 65 litre rucksack, fully padded, can take quite a lot of weight, and can carry quite a lot of gear. There's two main compartments, a lower section for probably for putting a sleeping bag in, and then an upper section in the main part of the bag, which has got quite a lot of capacity. On each side is two separate pockets, and then little side pockets on the side of that, so you really can carry quite a lot of gear with this one, and this would be, you know, the main workhorse, I'd imagine. So moving along, just various bits and pieces basically. I've got other sleeping bags. This is a fairly lightweight sleeping bag in the middle there. it's also packed away with a bivvy, so there's like a breathable waterproof outer that the sleeping bag itself sits in, and then a nice little compression sack there. Just behind that is a self-inflating sleeping mat. Very, very small, very compact, very useful. It's only sort of half size, so you can pop your head and your shoulders down, your hips and your shoulders down. But it doesn't cover the full length of your body, but that doesn't really matter. Definitely something I'll take with me if I'm going to be sleeping overnight, unless I take a proper camp bed, which I've got a couple of. If I'm going to do, throw a tent up or something, sleep overnight near the car, I can afford to carry some extra gear. So something like a proper camp bed would bring an additional level of comfort, but with that an additional level of weight. And then in the front there is a DD hammock. Only used it once or twice, probably won't use it so much on some of the trips, or most of the trips that I do. Useful to have though, can be slung between a couple of trees, used as a seat as much as anything else. So sometimes I might take that, I'm not sure. Bit of a collection of stuff over here. When we talk about shelters or covering, you can't see everything there, but there's at least 3 cheap tarpaulins, one absolutely huge one that will cover an entire area. Could probably get, I don't know, 6 to 8, 10 people underneath it if you needed to. Absolutely massive. And then there's a smaller one, more of a sort of 2-man size. On top of that is just a couple of ground sheets. The one on the left, the sort of silvery one, is actually a survival blanket, orange on one side and silver on the other. Excellent for heat retention. So again, if I'm just going to be throwing up a tarp, I probably will pack the survival blanket, just because it gives you really good insulation, as well as keeps water off you and stuff like that. It's a good size as well. So although it's a bit funny looking, it serves its purpose. And on the right there is just a basic fold up, very, very cheap ground sheet, and truly is a ground sheet, hasn't got any grommets or anything like that. So that too will be useful for laying out on the ground when I've got kit to put down, or put down as a layer between the ground and myself. And then there's my trusty old 3-man dome tent. Getting very old and very tired, and one of the jobs that I need to do before I go away is get it out, make sure all of the components and poles are in there. I know it's got a touch of damp, a little bit of mildew, so we'll get it out, give it a bit of an airing, maybe give it a scrub. I don't think it's too bad, but we'll see. Since the last time I got it out, which was last spring, probably last time I used the 3-man, I'll have to just check it for do a bit of maintenance on it or whatever, just make sure it's all right and proper, and then it slipped down over here. But this is one of my favourite things that I used quite a lot last year and the year before. Is a little 1-man tent. It is very small, not much more than like a hooped bivvy really, and for size and compactness and weight is spot on. In its kind of standard container at the moment, it's a good bag, but I can roll it up much smaller than what you're seeing now, and that probably for ease of use, it's got a built-in ground sheet, and that is probably the thing that I'm going to use the most if it isn't just a standard tarp. Going back to the tarps though, there's one important item missing, which is my British Army basher in a little bag. I'm not sure where that's gone, and that's something I'm going to look for today. It's the perfect job. It's still got its army number on it and all that sort of stuff. It's been used. The difference between kind of that British Army basher, which is like a fabric, and these cheaper ones, kick it with my foot, these cheaper ones, they're more like, I don't know, polyurethane or whatever. They're made from plastic. What I have learned from looking at a lot of the YouTube videos is they can be pretty noisy in the wind, and obviously we're going to be up in some fairly windy places this summer, so I don't know if that's really going to be suitable. We'll have a test run. As I say, we'll be putting some stuff out in the garden and stuff over the next couple of weeks, more to test the gear and just make sure that what I've got in mind to use before I go out there is the right stuff, and I've got all the bits and pieces I'm going to need out there with me. So that's the shelter section. If we spin round over here, I've just collected together, it's a bit in shadow, but hopefully you'll be able to see most things. I'm not even sure you can. A couple of different things. Got my tools together, so there's my K-bar and another large knife, which I use for basically for firewood, batoning stuff, and you know, just chopping down wood if I'm doing any stuff with fire, which around the stuff that I'm planning to do the radio, I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of stuff with building fires and stuff. It's not something that we do a lot of on kind of National Trust ground. So don't know, shade of stuff. There's quite a collection of stuff. The key one is as I say, is the K-bar and the Moira, much smaller knife, and I will do probably a bit more of a review on these, because these are the job. These are proper gear. Particularly love the Moira, much smaller knife. I've had this for years now, probably 4 or 5 years. Done quite a lot of work with it, and it's really kept its edge. The K-bar, much more heavy duty. Never really used it in anger in terms of, you know, not chopping down trees or anything like that, but it's a nice big knife, good weight, strong edge on it, although it's blunted down a little bit. It needs some work if I am going to use it at all this year. And then the other probably key one, it's in its case at the moment, but I'll probably do a very quick review if I do just like one knife video, is my Barco Laplander, which is basically a pruning saw, but you can see, I think you'll be able to see if I can get it out one-handed, which is always a job. Apologies there, again the camera shut down partway through my filming, so we've missed a chunk there. Was just talking about the Barco Laplander. I've added another item just now, which is my chainsaw, hand saw. Again, don't expect to be using much of it this year, but useful tool in terms of shelter building if you ever need anything like that. Just taking down larger diameter branches, or if you had to ever chop down saplings or whatever else. And then lastly, and then we'll move on to the next section, a couple of bits. I've got some throwing knives and a slingshot. Now again, I'm not in the habit of going out hunting rabbits or anything like that, but it's just fun to have items like that for a bit of target practice. Just if you're ever out in the countryside and you're away from people, where you're not going to be of any danger, using these kind of things. It's just a fun way to spend an evening, or, you know, while the dinner's cooking or whatever else, and you're camping, to go out and peck some trees or whatever else. Just a bit of a laugh. And then a very basic multi-tool. As I said, I'll probably do another video, just a bit more detail around some of the tools, because there's some good stuff here. And then lastly, just added this in, but it's a little monocular. So never used it, carried it with me, haven't had reason to, but again, thinking about when we do get up to some heights, there's going to be some beautiful countryside. It might be nice just to cast an eye across the horizon or whatever. Just, you know, a big part of this is just to see, just to look at just enjoy the experience more than anything else. Alright, we'll move on to the next section. Kind of different bits and pieces. I'm going to go a little bit faster because this is going to turn into a 3-hour video, and I'm sure no one really wants that. In this corner over here is various lights. There's a hand crank torch there, and then 2 fairly strong LED kind of pocket torches. I've got a number of, I think, 2 different head torches as well, headlamps, tucked away somewhere, but that's gonna need some more investigation as to where they are. But just checking again in terms of batteries and bits and pieces that I'm gonna have the right bits and pieces for bits and pieces, but you get what I'm saying. Just down in this corner I've got a couple of survival tins. Again, I will carry one with me, probably more than anything just as a what they call a last ditch, but any sort of writing implements I need if I did ever get separated from my kit. Not that I expect it to happen, but I'd try and have one of these on me. There's some basic fire lighting tools, pocket knife, that sort of stuff that I'd have to be in serious bad straits to be needing one, but there's no harm in having one with you. Moving around now to a mixture of bits and pieces. There's various kind of cook sets and water containers and stuff. It's going to be an important thing. We're obviously going to be going to places where you're not just going to be able to walk to the corner and fill from a tap. And although I'm not planning to be out for extended periods of times, certainly if I do an overnight and if I was doing a 3-dayer, one of the issues I'm going to have is about how much water I'm going to need for cooking, for washing, and for, you can't go anywhere without a brew, right? So that all needs to be thought about. I would say I would work to probably 2 litres a day, which means 2 bottles basically. So one like this, that's a litre bottle, and then I'd double up on something like that, which I've got the gear here, to be honest. Whiz you through what I've got though. So that's about a 5 litre bladder, has been used. Again, I'd probably fill it before I went away, and it would have to be, I'm not going to be schlepping that along with all the other stuff full of water. Water weighs an awful lot. Anyone that's done any sort of camping where they're carrying their own fluids will know that. Then the ubiquitous, really, can't go anywhere without your coffee mug. Again, very familiar white and blue. Had quite a number of brews out of that already. And then I've got a smaller kind of fold away cup, which I don't think I've ever used, but it was the right size to go on another bit of kit that I had, which is my flask. Now I've used this specifically when I've had open fires, which is why it's a bit marked up like that. And what I would do is, as much as possible, carry a number of containers that will, I can fill with water. Then this is probably one of my other favourite things is my Crusader cook set. That definitely is worthy of a review. There are probably thousands of YouTube reviews of the Crusader cook set, very popular a couple of years ago. But in terms of portability and functionality, I have to say the setup is spot on. I've used it a number of times, a good number of times. It's normally the cook set of choice, but I have got some other options. Then in here I've got a hobo stove. Again, I'll probably do a separate review just of this. There's a few other odds and sods in there as well, but that was pretty much homemade, so I'll show you what I've done there in another video. This is a beat up old cook set. Again, it's been used a little bit, definitely battered, doesn't hold its shape or anything like it used to, but a useful frying pan. There's some small cups and bits and pieces inside of there. I would only take that if I was probably not going to take something like this, if I was cooking like actual food, bacon, one of the things, and I've got some kind of ready-made, or the MREs, the ration pack stuff. I've got a few of those from last year still left over, so I might as well finish them up on some of the trips that I'm on. Yes, the mess tin, standard issue, slightly higher than actually the British Army one. It's been knocked about a bit. I've cooked a few things in it, to be honest. It needs a bloody good clean. Very simple to use, and as I say, will fit in most containers or stuff, and useful for, you know, you can put items in there. A lot of people put their ration packs actually inside the mess tin. Hexi stoves, I've got a couple of those, and a few alternatives. These tend to be used by the army. They are bugger all money. They come with I can't do it now, but both of them have got, I think, 6 or 12 hexi cubes in there, so that's ready to use. This little baby here is was a Coke can, which you can use with meths. These bottles, one of these, you can't really see, but that was my meths container when I've used it. I've just pulled it out because it was in one of the rucksacks, but again, I'll have a think about what bits and bobs I need to bring with me. Could be sugar, could be salt, certainly if I'm using anything like this, meths. And then this little guy, there used to be loads of them on eBay years ago. Basically, it's a container, as you can see, a little tin, that was filled and is filled with a kind of gel-based alcohol or something like that, but it comes with its own little cook stand. Can't really do it one-handed, sorry guys, but you take that off, drop a match to it, it will burn, obviously after you've put the cook stand on, and then you would put your cup or mess tin or whatever you're going to be cooking on that. Again, I've had a look on eBay recently because this is pretty useful, certainly for a brew kit, but they seem to have disappeared from eBay at least. What else have we got? There's a windshield for cooking. Again, we're going up to places where there will probably be fairly strong winds, so I would definitely take a windshield with me. So that has got to be packed away. And then, you know, all very, very common standard gas hob. Again, another favourite choice. Used this quite a lot when I've been camping because it's quite lightweight. Actually sits in one of the pockets of the bags with plenty of space, so very convenient, very easy to control. Maybe a little bit cumbersome, but you know, it's a guaranteed flame when you need it. Done quite a lot of cooking, and certainly for convenience in terms of just being able to pull it out of your bag, spark it up and get cooking. It's got to be one of the easiest ways, next to the Crusader kit, I would say, because the Crusader kit is just brilliant for when I just want a quick coffee or need to cook up a ready-made meal, or like, as I say, an MRE. Then there's some last thing is this big boy. Don't know whether I'm going to use it. I've seen it in some of the other videos. It's just a portable gas hob, similar to this but flat. Got a gas tin in the side. I've got several of those stuffed away, so if I did want to bring this away and do a proper cookout, this would be probably what I would use, but again, would stay in the car most of the time. Last little bits and pieces, there's a medical kit and a wash kit just for shaving, brushing your teeth, stuff like that. And that's about everything I've got here. As I say, one thing that I am missing is the basher. It's going to be my primary tarpaulin, so I need to look that up. And that's about everything I've got complete. There's a couple of other items at the back there, which is more to do with clothing, some waterproof stuff, and my heavy gloves. I use these if I'm doing anything with fire. When I talk more about the hobo stove, I'll say some more about that. But I should be packing those away with me. And I'll do a separate section on clothes as well, because again there's going to be different weather conditions that we need to face up to, so we're going to have a go through what I've got in terms of boots and combat trousers, all that sort of stuff, and we'll do another video on that. Alright guys, so that covers most of the kit that I'll be looking at over the next few days to use, and I'll be back to you with some more reviews on some of the particular items we've looked at today. Cheers.